Just to lead on to the question about Corbyn, if possible, because I am interested, and it's a point you make in the book as well, is that successful examples that we've had since then have been based on analysing where things went wrong with Allende. Can you give us an example of the way those things have manifested in other situations, so potentially Venezuela with the military and the way it's designed that the people that are able to reach, say, colonel or lieutenant are not all from a particular strata of society. What are some of those kind of lessons that have been learned and then applied?
Yeah, I think, the overthrow of Allende led to a very long period of analysis by left-wingers across the world and definitively in Latin America. I think one of the lessons that we see, for example, in Nicaragua running up to the revolution there and, ever since was really about unity. We may disagree on, what we mean by socialism or whatever, but let's agree on the need to achieve this step first, and then that step, and then the next step. So, to an extent, the issue of unity, and I think we can see that in Venezuela as well, where they create a unified socialist party of Venezuela rather than a kind of coalition. And that, I think I would argue, is actually the lesson, a lesson that was learned here in the UK a long time ago, which is why the Labour Party is such a broad church. So one of them is unity of at least short-term goals in order to, the later unity can be, decided upon later. The other, I think, is actually less to do with the military, because in Venezuela, the military was already just drawn from more popular sectors of the population, unlike Chile, where it's more of a caste system in the officer corps, at least. It's to do with the integration of social movements, a more dynamic coordination between social movement and institutions, political parties and government. Because probably that's one of the weaknesses that we can see in Allende's government. The over-reliance on the institutional, on parliamentary fighting, on agreements between political parties, and not thinking about the power that the street has, the power that the masses have to influence that context, which I think we can see very powerfully in Venezuela recently, with these the tours that Maduro did of the country with the military, but also where they just held these mass demonstrations. That was also done in Chile, but I would argue that it was done in order to support a political party rather than to express support for the process as a whole. And I think that's a difficult one, but I would argue those are the two main lessons that were drawn in Latin America.